Hello and welcome to Frank's Basketball Talk. This is the NBA channel that I will be discussing the NBA games that I watched yesterday, and what an opening night we had: Bucks versus Nets and Lakers versus Warriors. Now let's start off with the Bucks versus Nets, since that was the first game of the night. Now this is a game that could lead to a possible Eastern Conference Finals matchup, or matchup in the playoffs in general. And these two teams are title contenders, so it was really anticipated for this being an amazing game. But this game looks like it was controlled by the Bucks the whole way through. Now Giannis Antetokounmpo dominated this night, and this might be an absolutely more phenomenal season than we are used to from Giannis Antetokounmpo, because what was Giannis's first shot of the game? It was a three-pointer. And in the first quarter, he made a three-point shot. Now, what was the one thing that we've always been saying about Giannis Antetokounmpo? Oh, if only he could add a three-point shot, imagine how scary he is. Well, we saw in the preseason he was shooting threes confidently, and now he shot confidently in this game as well. And he made one. So, I think it's safe to say that Giannis may have added a three-point shot, a consistent three-point shot. And his free throw machine, it looks a lot smoother. It's no longer, you're not going to hear the chants of 1, 2, 3 from the crowd. His smooth, he just takes a deep breath, gets the ball, dribbles it once, and then shoots. It's a smooth free throw routine now. Giannis Antetokounmpo was so dominant that we may have already seen a contender for Block of the Year. Nicholas Claxton goes up for a dunk, and Giannis Antetokounmpo just meets him at the shot and just blocks his dunk attempt. And it's not like we haven't seen that from Giannis before. He's blocked dunk attempts before. And in the first game of the season, he does it again. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo ended the night with 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists. You know, the typical Giannis stat line is just absolute dominant. Now, another player that I think needs to be acknowledged for how good of a game he had was Pat Connaughton off the bench. Off the bench, he scored 20 points. Like, they couldn't even stop Pat Connaughton as well, because he just looked good off the bench. And if they keep, I don't know if Pat Connaughton's going to stay on the bench or not, but he looked good. Now the Bucks ended up winning the game 127-104 against the Nets, and they absolutely ran away with the game in the fourth quarter. And the Nets just look like they have issues, and the Bucks have an elite defense already in the first game. They look like they have not missed a beat since winning the championship. It's like yesterday they won the championship and they just keep rolling. They had no rust. Like, they look like they're on a mission to prove that we're gonna be the ones that's gonna be winning the championship. We're gonna be the ones that's defending it. No one in the East can stop us. Now let's go ahead and start talking about the Nets. And I already alluded to the Nets look like they have some of their own struggles. And obviously the whole Kyrie situation, they're going to have to start playing without Kyrie because of the whole vaccination issue with him. And it looks like the team does need to get gelled, because they were expecting to play with Kyrie, and now they're not playing with him. And it looks like, if you would put a 7-game series against the Bucks, who I think is the best team in the East right now, is you need someone like Kyrie, because I think it's just based on this game, the Bucks will show that they're probably going to be the ones that win a Game 7, unless Kyrie becomes a deciding factor if he decides to take the vaccine, and then it will be a whole new series. But if the Nets don't figure out their issues and Kyrie doesn't come back, I think the Bucks would win in a 7-game series. Now let's talk about some bright spots about the Nets. I do think they were a really good team. I think they're the second best team in the East. They're going to make it far in the playoffs, depending on seeding. They're going to eventually play the Bucks. But I hope that's the Eastern Conference Finals series, because that would be a really fun series to watch. I think this first game is going to be an outlier between these two teams, is how much the Bucks dominated this game. I think it's mainly because it's the first game of the season, and the Nets are trying to find some chemistry issues, because of the whole Kyrie situation. But I think the games would be a lot more closer once the team starts gelling more. And of course, Kevin Durant had his Kevin Durant game. He looked amazing. But Patty Mills looks like a great signing. Patty Mills shot 7 for 7 at the 3-point line tonight. And of course, don't expect him to shoot perfect at the 3-point line. But he's always been a consistent 3-point shooter for the Spurs. And I think the Nets especially need that off the bench, because now the whole Kyrie situation happened. They have one more player they needed to put in the starting lineup, and that's one less player on the bench. And Patty Mills, it needs to be consistent in order for this team to get to where they need to be in winning a championship. And I do think Patty Mills is going to be consistent because he's always been a consistent 3-point shooter. Now, we've always known the Nets are an elite offensive team. And there was one point in the end of the second quarter where they had a huge run against the Bucks and they looked unstoppable. And they made a relatively close game. Not relatively. I think they did make it a close game at halftime. I don't remember exactly the first half end of the score. But that run showed the potential that the Nets do have. And if they are on, there's not many teams that can beat them. The Bucks and the Lakers probably, and then everyone else, good luck. But the Nets do still have a lot of bright sides to them. Now let's move on to the second game of the night, the Lakers versus Warriors. The final score for the game ended up being 121 for 114, the Warriors winning. And there's some good and bad sides about each team on this team. And I think both of these teams are going to be really good. I think both teams are going to make the playoffs. And especially with the Warriors, but eventually they're going to get Klay Thompson back. And I don't know how far the Warriors are going to go, but they look like they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of players that can move the ball. It's just, they're going to be a good quality team. LeBron, of course, we know LeBron James and the Lakers are going to be really good. They have LeBron James and Anthony Davis and some solid pieces around them. Now, I probably don't have as much to say about this game as I did with Bucks and the Nets, because I missed the third quarter. I wasn't paying as much attention in the first half as I did with the Bucks and the Nets, but I did pay attention mainly in the fourth quarter. And this game was really close throughout the whole game. Both teams had good runs. Especially in the fourth quarter, the Warriors had a huge run that the Lakers just could not keep up with. And now I want to talk about the Warriors first. Warriors, they're going to be a really good team. Steph Curry had an off night. Now, he shot terribly, but he had triple-double. He got his 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and it's not like he wasn't pulling his weight when he was on the court. It's just that he wasn't shooting well. And the fact that they still won this game with Steph Curry not shooting well, and Klay Thompson's not back from injury, and I think that's just going to show that this team is good, and the ball movement of the Warriors looked amazing as usual. You can count on the Warriors' ball movement being amongst the top of the league, and they showed it off tonight, man. It was beautiful to watch. The Warriors look like they're going to have one of the top, if not the top benches of the season if they continue at this rate. The Warriors scored 51 points off the bench, with Bielika scoring 15 points, Andre Iguodala scoring 12, and amongst other players that came off the bench and scored. And I think that's going to be the X factor with the Warriors. The Warriors are going to have the depth that probably no other playoff team will probably have. And I think that's just going to be the deciding factor. Is they're going to be able to play their stars, but they're also going to be able to load management throughout the regular season, and keep their starters healthy, keep them fresh for the playoffs. And once playoffs starts, that's when they're going to probably cut off with this reserve team, and I think they're going to be a lot more energized once the playoff starts going off than a team like the Lakers or the Nets, who don't have as much depth as the Warriors. They're going to have to be playing their star players a lot more, and I think that could be an X factor this season. Now, the Lakers, let's talk about their bright sides. LeBron James and Anthony Davis look like they're on a mission. They're looking like, hey, our championship in the bubble, that wasn't a fluke. Last season, we had injuries, we were exhausted from the shortened off season. We are on a mission to prove that we are the best team, that we will be the winners. Both LeBron James and Anthony Davis had 30 pieces, and they just looked flat out dominant. Now, here's the thing. I think the Lakers should have won this game. With both LeBron James and Anthony Davis dominating as much as they did, they should have won this game. But the reason why they didn't win this game was, one, the Warriors played really good, but also the other pieces around LeBron James and Anthony Davis did not play well, and especially Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook turned the ball over frequently, shot terribly, 0 for 4 at the three-point line, even though we've known he's not a good three-point shooter. He still keeps shooting threes. And if he doesn't adjust to this team, this is not going to be good a stunt for the Lakers. He's going to be more of a hindrance than a good quality player for the Lakers. Now, this could easily be the typical Russell Westbrook season of he struggles in the first half, tries to get adjusted to the new team he's on, because this is his third team of the last 3 years. It was Rockets, then the Wizards, then now the Lakers. And then second half, he heats up in the second half of the regular season, starts becoming the Russell Westbrook we know, and then in the playoffs, he just disappears again. But the rest of the pieces around the Lakers, around Anthony Davis and LeBron James, need to step up. LeBron James and Anthony Davis will not be able to carry this team by themselves in order to be a good team, in order to win a championship. But I think the Lakers will figure that out. Either the players around them do step up, or they're going to make some moves at the trade deadline, because LeBron James is getting older. They're going to want to win a championship now, and they're either going to wait to trade deadline to find out who has meshed with the team and who hasn't. They're going to make some deals to improve their chances of winning a championship. Now, that's pretty much all I have to say about that game. Of course, again, I didn't pay as much attention to this game. I missed the third quarter, so I don't have as much to say about this game as the Bucks or the Nets. But what I do take away from this game is, I think both teams are going to be in the playoffs. The Lakers are going to go as far as the pieces around LeBron James and Anthony Davis allow them to, because I have no issue. I have no second thought about how well LeBron James and Anthony Davis are going to be, because they're two of the top players of the league. But the Lakers are going to go as far as the pieces around them do. The Warriors are going to go as far as who they play up against in the playoffs, I think. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that part of this video. Thanks for watching this video, and thanks for listening to my analysis of the game. If you liked my thoughts, you can go ahead and please press the like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want to discuss anything that I mentioned that you disagree with my takes from the game, or if you want to discuss anything about the games further, please comment in the comment section. I will happily reply to you. I will happily discuss what you want to discuss. Now, y'all have a good time watching the rest of the games tonight, and see you in the next video.